I play bass, and I also play drums.
Derek, and I play drums and bass.
Mike, and I play guitar and sing.
We are the Jons and all of our non-photogenic glory. We heard and not seen.
Couchbound. Couchbound for the night. Toilet warmers. Nah, just the Jons.
A lot of times, sometimes we'll kind of start listing our influences, and I think like Big Boys come up a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Like Minutemen. I think Stooges.
Definitely. Just weird psychedelic SST influence, like funk stuff.
Outside of the Jons, I play in a band called Whiff. Play drums. Play drums in Paper Dragons, Deep Sleep, and Gene Mills Society Torch, which Gene Mills is insanely inactive, but still in the roster.
I guess there's the Jons. Flying Faders is a surf rock band that I'm in, and I play drums. Misuser is practicing just a few times to play a show. I play guitar in that. And I'm also in the Sounding Rockets. I play drums in that band as well. I am also in Dinged Up, which is kind of my band. I write everything and record everything.
At the moment, I'm also in a band called Hey Rube, operates out of Hanover. I play guitar and sing, and switch off vocal and guitar duties with another guy, Steve Sipes. Play bass in a punk band called Paper Dragons. Play bass in a band called Deep Sleep that's largely inactive at the moment, but not exactly broken up. I think that about does it. Yeah.
It was, I think, really, it all started 2005. I think it was like summer.
Yeah.
Or maybe spring, because
It was something like that. We initially got the idea to do it. Our old band, Derek and I's old band, The Spark, was going to go on tour. We didn't have any money. So that we should make, we would always make up these like stupid fake song titles. And so I said we should do a tape called The Jons. And it would just be all these stupid songs. We could sell them at the Spark merch table and make a couple dollars for like, buy like Wendy's food or whatever, like on tour. And then we were at Jimmy's in Fells Point, and he drew like a skateboard on the toilet on the back of the menu. And then we never did that. We never made the tape or did any of that. But we still decided.
Started the band instead.
Yeah, we did the real band instead. And then at the time, like Joe's band, My Sister Kate, was breaking up.
Derek had come and hung out at my house and was talking about how he started a new band with Mike. And he said, and we're calling it the Jons, because we wanted just like a simple, straightforward name. And then he goes, plus it's a reference to a toilet. And I thought that was hilarious. You know, I didn't think about it until he said it. And I think you may have even said that you had a couple songs written already. And then I wasn't, like My Sister Kate had just ended, so I wasn't doing anything. And I was like, I want to do something, and maybe I can do something different instead of playing drums all the time. So I called Derek one time, and I was like, soon after that, like within a week of him talking about it. And I was like, I just wanted to see if I might be able to try out to play bass for the Jons. And he said, I don't know about trying out, but you can be in the band if you want. So I was like, cool. I owned a van at the time, and the Spark was going to go on a tour. Instead of just borrowing the van from me, they asked, well, having a second band would only, you know, require having me, one more person, to have two bands playing shows. So actually I think the very first time that I went with him, I just hung out with him. And then I think at that time we talked about maybe playing some shows. So the Jons like opened up for the Spark a few times. And that's how we started playing shows. Jons was live style to like that little, you know, digital recorder thing that Mike Bosler had. And it was like 7 songs?
Like 7 songs. We did it here.
We played everything all at once. Did you do the vocals later, maybe?
Yeah, I did them later.
Yeah.
It's pointless. They sounded just as bad as it was live.
And then one with Pro Tools for the first 7-inch, the Queenie of this 7-inch.
Well, previously, like when we did the 7-inch and all the songs that went along with that earlier on, we did that all through Pro Tools. We still recorded it here, but that allowed us the opportunity to overdub a lot. And so I could think about, like, you know, we recorded on those records, we did everything live, and then I would go back and overdub all of the distorted parts and all of the leads and all that stuff. And so I could like make this huge guitar sound. The drum sound is a lot bigger on that one. It's a lot more open space. Because then when we went to mix it, the guy we went to mix it with said that there was a lot of like bleed through from recording live. And instead of trying to cancel that out, he made that a part of the recording. So it just has this big open, airy sound.
You know, a lot of years passed between each of these recordings too. Finally, we acquired the analog reel-to-reel tape. I think it's 1/2-inch 8-track.
We used the preamps on this mixer, and we ran those through the patch bay to the tape machine.
1/2-inch.
Yeah, 1/2-inch 8-track.
It was, I think, really, it all started not that long ago when Rob and Amanda from Southpaw Records were hanging out here, and I think maybe the Jons had a show coming up, and we had a practice, and they watched us practice, and then I think afterwards they contacted Derek, and they were like, you know, they always really liked the Jons, and you know, they were doing really well with Southpaw Records, and they, you know, decided that they wanted to do something for us, you know, put out a record, which is really cool.
I've been friends with them for a long time. Goes back to like school days. But with this record specifically, it's something that I know we've wanted to do for a long time. Pretty much like a full documentation of almost everything we've ever done. So it's like the total package, kind of. It's pretty cool. Get the opportunity to do it, record, where we practice once again, and with our friends engineering it and friends putting it out. Couldn't really ask for anything better. It's probably hard to think of my favorite thing about recording, because I can't really stand it. It's weird. I get super wigged out recording drums, specifically just drums for any band, and then the second I'm done my drum takes, I'm insanely stoked on the record and super good vibes. Just trying to nail down a drum track without, you know, messing up gets the best of me every single time. But now I'm like insanely pumped about it, you know.
I definitely do not like recording. It's really stressful and anxiety-ridden, especially for drums, because the way recording drums works is there's no punching in and punching out. You have to land the song in one take. Of the 15 songs on this record, Derek played drums on 10 of those songs, and he did all his drums first, and then I sat down and did my 5 songs for drums. And I barely adjusted anything. I just kind of wanted to get through it. I've done that at shows before, where I just kind of sit down and go, even though it's not set up to my normal liking. I just sat down and I was just like, let's just go for it, let's just do it. So a lot of what we did was very similar, you know. There were still differences even, you know, we put the drums in the kitchen for the Jons recording instead of the living room.
And then as soon as we started getting the drum sounds, we recorded them in the kitchen, and it was a much like tighter kind of dry sound that completely changed like how I was going to approach everything else. Because then I really think the drum sound is what kind of frames the rest of your recording. In my opinion, the limited knowledge I have of recording, like that's kind of how I see it.
We do drums first. And
Basically, we did the drums in one day, mixed the drums down, started the second day, and then started recording the bass. Usually we will do all the guitars with most bands and then the bass, but I don't know if Mike had to work or what, but pretty much Joey and Derek laid down all the bass tracks like that second day.
I definitely recording bass for one of the songs. I think it was one of the instrumental songs. It was so fast. There's something I had to do. There was something I had to land on bass that just goes by so fast. It was taking a long time, and we were having trouble getting a bass sound. So then it's kind of a thing where, okay, I got it, I landed it, but the bass was sounding weird, so let's try it again. And it's like, I tried 3 more times, I don't get it as well. And I just like yelled, and I was like, I hate this song, you know? And it's like, I didn't write the song, you know? So now it sounds like I'm insulting who wrote it, but it's not, you know, I was just saying that it was really frustrating trying to land this, you know, one thing.
Is that why you went out the bail? Followed you back in? I'm gonna get fucking fired.
I think recording bass is kind of cool. I mean, I feel weird because I'm sitting in a room full of musicians usually when I'm recording. I'm not a very good bassist, but it's, you know, it's all good. And it's cool to get the opportunity to punch in and punch out a little bit, you know. Just a little bit of a different pace, a little more laid back than recording drums. Yeah, I mean, I don't know.
Most of the guitars were done with one mic up close and one mic far away to sort of get like some room. A couple of them, a couple of the songs Mike used a delay pedal to run 2 different amps simultaneously with 2 different signals.
My favorite part of recording always is recording guitar parts. I love it. You know, it's fun, but it's weird. I mean, one of the, I wouldn't say drawback of this one is, Joey put this to me really well when he said that, you know, live sound is like 3D, but recording is like 2D, so it's 2 totally different animals. So I set up my tone to be like how we would normally practice or play live, and so then initially upon like hearing playbacks a day later, I wasn't like super happy with the tone, but all that got fixed in the mixing and the mastering. Now I love it. I think it sounds great. This was one of the first times I'd ever recorded of trying to keep everything guitar-wise on largely one track instead of doing any overdubs. So, on one hand, it wasn't that different because that's how you do it live, but on the other hand, you have to think things out a little bit more because normally you go into recording, at least I would go into recording and think like, okay, I'm going to do a clean track, I'm going to do a distorted track, and then separate effects and solos will all be overdubbed. Whereas this time, you have to kind of think of like, how am I going to go into that part, how am I going to come out of that part to still make it sound interesting and not dry and sterile. I mean, I like there to be a volume jump when I go from clean to distorted, but also you can fix a lot of that in automation in the mixing, which is what we largely relied on for this one. Saturation of effects was a little, I tried a couple things that don't normally do, like I used you know, Brian's fuzz pedal on one of the solos. There was weirdness with the delay, mainly because I was trying things that I hadn't really done before. It was kind of on the fly. Of doing things like in a couple of the songs, like having parts where I would be turning the rate knob as it's making noises to give it like weird sounds, and that was a total trial and error. But I mean, there wasn't really any error because it's just goofy noises. But it's just kind of one of those things where you don't have 100% control really over what it's going to do because it's not really that well planned out. So it leaves you open for all kinds of neat like things that are going to happen that you didn't quite expect.
Rolling.
I was off with it.
Okay. Try again. drums up a little bit so you can hear the hi-hats. Rolling. Yeah, then we did the guitars, and then the vocals, and then
Recording vocals for me is always like kind of stressful and tough because I'm not like I don't consider myself like really a like knowledgeable vocalist on how things are done, and especially with this recording, like on one hand I was a little more comfortable with it because I've done it a bunch of times at this point, but also with this one a lot I wasn't quite as prepared as I probably should have been. Like some of the lyrics were written like right before recording them, and or sometimes while recording them, like having to stop and go, okay, this part doesn't fit, and cross it out, and then still make that fit with the song. And I think some of those came out better than others, but upon like once again mixing and mastering, it all sounds fine.
It's awkward mornings, they be lonely nights. I might as well get it wrong when nothing learns how to get it right.
But that was always tough. And then, I mean, anytime the first couple times you hear your voice come through headphones or a speaker, it's weird. It makes you feel odd. And at this point, like I'm a little more comfortable with it, but it still takes a little getting used to.
Let me show that one more time.
That's fucking so cool.
Okay.
When was that? Did you?
Few months ago.
Maybe I knew about it when it was coming up, possibly. Was
Did you
it?
ever see
Was there a
James
line?
Smith with Cactus Jack?
No.
Okay,
Was there a line to hang with him? For the Jons recording, all Mike's vocals pretty much are like single vocals, with maybe some backups here and there of sometimes him and sometimes me.
Let's up! Let's up! Let's up! Let's up!
Vocals were pretty normal.
I think we did those in the pink room.
Yeah.
Did we use a regular? We used the 421, right?
Yeah. So I guess we didn't.
Did we
use
do it in the
compressor. Okay, scratch that. We recorded him in the basement.
Well, I remember him. Maybe we did some of them up here. Maybe because we probably more than one day. We probably moved it up here because it was easier.
Yeah.
It's a little easier communication. I feel like there was some extra actual stuff I think should have recorded.
We did. There were the gang vocals in the
Gang
one,
vocals that you were-
which we recorded it. Yeah, did in the hallway. Just
You can tell people were laughing. You know, you can hear a recording, but you can tell people were smiling.
You make me wanna throw up! You make me wanna throw up! You make me wanna throw up! You make me wanna throw up!
You can't get past 2 without laughing. I've never sang it live.
we sort of let them take charge too as far as the mixing goes. Joey did a lot of that. Mike did a lot of that. We just sort of facilitated, showed them how to use everything, and then let them go to it. Usually
So we can just sit back and...
we generally, like, the band will even leave usually, and we'll mix on our own time and then send them mixes and get notes as opposed to them even being here for the mix. But this was sort of
It can be
them
boring.
here the whole time.
We're fortunate, more than most, I guess, that we get to once again record where we practice with our friends. We've switched it up over the years with who does the audio mastering. After that, it goes into getting mastered for vinyl, and then it gets shipped off to the pressing plant. And then there's numerous places where you can get the covers printed. But you can get everything manufactured at one place, or you can get everything done separately. And then you get everything in the mail and assemble everything yourself. Right now, specifically, we're in the process. We got covers. Rob got covers shipped to him last week or this week. Just kind of waiting on the vinyl. You get a test press that you can approve or disapprove.
We got ours, listened to them, and it sounded really good. So
Yeah, I mean,
Pretty
different
good.
places do it different ways, but I mean, that's pretty much the standard. It's like chord, mix, master for vinyl, press, final product. A lot of work goes into like this, flat piece of
yeah.
wax.
up.